When Prime Minister Modi came, he was the first Prime Minister who the Prime Minister Abe took him to his another house. Actually, this is very rare in Japanese culture.
Hello, very good evening, namaste, and welcome to Chitya Media. I'm your host Sharan Sethi. Joining us today for a conversation all the way from Japan is Nupur Tewari ji. She's a motivational speaker, she's a spiritual healer, she's a yoga instructor, she's also an unofficial ambassador of India to Japan. Are some of the titles that she holds in her hat. Nupur ji, namaste. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Namaste, and thank you for having me.
Nupurji, let me begin by asking you my first question. Today we are here to talk about India-Japan relations, the bilateral relations, especially because Japan is such a big friend and a good friend to India, and the relationship is only growing stronger. So, amid the pandemic, amid an economic recession, Japan has been that one friend of India's who has stood by very strongly and believes that India is a lost superpower and who believes that India should progress as an economic superpower as well. So it's funding a lot of projects in India too. What drives the Japanese to do so? Because this is not something that you see in the case of other countries.
Yeah. So actually, the Japan and India, not only bilateral relation, they were strong because this connection actually it's way back thousands of years. Spiritually we are connected, but these things actually we did not explore and did not evolve, actually I would say. And that is the reason actually most of the Indians, they don't know much about Japan, and most of the Japanese, they don't know much about India. And the limit is there. The Indians think Japan is only few things, and the Japanese think that India is not safe, or India is only the India used to be before. So they are not aware of the present India. But having said that, India, there are actually the business group, there, the politicians, they are very much inclined to have the best relationship with India there. And as we can see, after Modi ji came in power, he made sure that the Japan is going to be our best friend. And Prime Minister Abe and Prime Minister Modi, the relationship between them, just like brothers. The Prime Minister Abe, when Prime Minister Modi came, he was the first Prime Minister who the Prime Minister Abe took him to his another house. Actually, this is very rare in Japanese culture. So, so this is actually it shows that how close they are and how closely they think that the India Japan should be the best friends. And we can see the quad also happen, and the Prime Minister Abe took the initiative, the quad thing.
Indeed.
So here and when it comes to business also, the Japanese companies, they're withdrawing their business from China, and their eyes are on India. They want to take their businesses to India. So here, since I'm also taking a lot of business interviews for my channel, so from my for the practical experience, I would like to say to Indian that there is actually our India and Japan spiritually, the soully connected. But again, I would like to say that India is invaded, and our culture is not really, sometimes the young generation, they don't know who we are. Actually, they're quite confused. The Indian youth and Indian actually quite confused because we don't believe in our culture also. So here, my suggestion would be that to understand actually the culture we had, the same culture actually they're having, Japanese, the trust, actually the most important thing in Japanese culture. Once they trust you, they will do anything for you. They will trust you forever. But to develop that trust, it takes time. And the promise, the time, and if you make promise, make sure that you're keeping your promise. with them, the Japanese people. So these few things are quite tricky. And here, sometimes when they go to India and want to do things with us, and they just see that these, dedications are not there, they get disappointed. So I would like to suggest all the young generation or who want to do business with India, just keep in Japan, sorry, for with Japan, keep these points totally, because these are not really, these values did not come from other land. These values are our values, like our ancestor actually gave us these values. If you really promise someone something, you keep it. So these are like normal humanity, and our, if you see our in our scriptures, those are totally written there. So please, make sure that you do it, and let's make this relation stronger. Let's make it, because Japan is a country. This normal example I'm going to give you, I heard this story from one ambassador actually, that when the Sri Lanka supported, when Japan was did not have the, after Second World War, the Sri Lanka supported Japan when Japan was having hard time, and Japan made sure when they had the economic power, they got the really their economy strong. They made sure that they give the most scholarship to Sri Lanka. This is the payback. Japan believes in that. Japan believes in paying back. So please, let's make this relation really stronger. Then Japan always would be with us, and India definitely, spiritually
You did
connected with
mention
Japan.
that once the Japanese trust you, you're a friend forever. So, do you think
Yes.
that India has arrived at that point of trust with Japan?
Yes, we are. We actually that, and we are very grateful to our Prime Minister Modi ji for that. This is actually I would a few years ago when Modi ji came on power, Japanese are not much interested in politics. Actually, in daily lives, they don't talk about politics, not at all. So when our Prime Minister came on power, the Modi ji, and then one of my teachers came to me and said, "Oh, I like your Prime Minister. After maybe few months, I like your Prime Minister. He's really doing great job, and he's just trying his best to have the better relation with Japan." So I was like, wow, even the school teachers, they started talking about our Prime Minister. So that was really great that the even the normal people, normal citizen of Japan, the India, they have started thinking about India, not only the you know business people, not only the politicians, but the normal citizen also started thinking about India. Yes, definitely.
That
This is
definitely
happening.
signifies and symbolizes the amount of popularity that Indian Prime Minister Modi has in Japan. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Um, we were also discussing Prime Minister Abe's visit to India and Prime Minister Modi's visit to Japan. And in fact, when Prime Minister Abe visited India, especially Banaras, it became more of a symbolic visit. Why was that?
So it's not, as I said, as I mentioned earlier, the Prime Minister Abe and Prime Minister Modi. This is not only two prime ministers; they're like more close, I guess. So close like brothers. So here it is when our we always thought about the economy between two countries. We always thought about bilateral relations, but we never explored the spiritual side, which actually happening. So that was very symbolic, and that spiritually how we are connected from thousands of years, and which unfortunately not explored the way India actually do. We Indians don't know how many god and goddesses are here in Japan, and they know them from thousands of years, and they used to consider that India is the heaven. When I lived in another part of Japan, and I met few people there in their 80s. They said, what we used to say? We used to say, if you go to India, your life will be totally changed. I mean, you will become more spiritual because that is heaven. you're going to heaven, the place. So this is the way they used to consider. And I'm sure that Prime Minister Abe's grandfather was the prime minister also, and he's the family of prime ministers. So I'm sure he learned all those stories. He and his grandfather also went to India when Prime Minister Pandit Nehru was there as prime minister. So these stories, definitely, I'm sure that Prime Minister Abe knew, and he was more connected, and that is the reason he felt that we should have great relation, not only economic relation, but the spiritual relation as well. So it was very important to explore the
Wonderful.
spiritual side between two countries.
Wonderful. Nupurji, the world is waking up to the Chinese threat. They're very expansionist in their approach. They are gobbling up territories, and Japan and India are the victims of this. Although we respect a rules based world order, but the Chinese seem to have a different approach. How can India and Japan sort of work together against the rising Chinese threat, especially in terms of how expansionist it is?
So yes, and actually, the Japan has been suffering from long time, having that neighbor who is, you know, trying to expand their land, everywhere. They're just feeling that the entire world is there. So, and the India is also, the same thing is happening. So here we have common interest. I think not only keeping those sides aside, that spiritual or other sides. Here I think we the same enemy or same threat, I would say, from the same place. The threats from same place, these are coming, those threats are coming. So here I think this is the need of the hour, that India and Japan should become the closer than ever, and we just face them. And not only face, we have to just protect our lands and from them, because India also believe we never invaded any other country. And
Yes.
Japan, yeah, and Japan is also they don't have their army, that kind of armed
Mm.
forces, kind of they have, but this is for humanitarian
Yes.
reason. So and Japan also, after second world war, they decided to just follow peace.
Yes.
So here also we are very much we never invade, and Japan also following peace. So we really don't want any land from anyone. We just want to we just want peace, that's all. So
Yes.
here our common interest and the threat coming from the same place, and I think this is the reason that we have to be closer than ever.
Nupurji, you also lead a lot of initiatives in Japan and all over the world. Something like Heal Tokyo has set an example. And Japan, as a country that is regularly affected by tsunamis, and places like India and Sri Lanka, which are affected by natural calamities like floods and droughts, your initiatives have really helped. So, can you tell our audience a little bit more before we wrap up this interview?
Definitely, definitely. I think we, even if we cannot help a lot, maybe not even millions people, at least few people we can help, right? We are capable of helping at least a few people. So that was my philosophy. That is, I always believed in Gita, and I always believed, I have seen since my childhood, just my parents helping many people. They used to stay at our house and they used to go to schools, so I have seen how my parents helping educating other kids, and so many people used to eat every day in our family. We are fortunate, we are blessed to have wealth. So that was another reason. So I think so it is like today we say that sharing is caring. So that is actually our culture, that is our Indian culture, that we always believed in that. We always believed in Atithi Deva Bhava. We always believed in these Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the world is a family. So these are fancy words for the rest of the world today, but these are the real word for us. Actually, our ancestor taught us like thousands of years ago. So here, that was my philosophy, and I always believed in giving back whatever way I can. And that is, I was doing my karma, nothing else. Since that 2003, I landed in Japan. I started my volunteer activities, whatever way I could. I started spreading India because people really did not know about India much. As I said, that they didn't know even yoga came from India, because I did not live in Tokyo at that time, but many places I moved. So that was a great experience, knowing real Japan and spreading my own culture. So I have been spreading India as Sanatana Sanskriti from that time. So when I became really, when I thought it is the time that I should do something, when there was an earthquake in western part of Japan, and I thought this is the time that I have to do something different, and what I can do, what my expertise. It's like a bit of ikigai kind of rule here. So I thought about what is my expertise. I thought this is my yoga, and what do you want to do, Nupur? I can at least heal people with meditation. This is one thing. Second thing, I can teach yoga and do meditation, and then I can have a cause, and that cause I would not charge them anything. If you connect with the cause, you just put with anything you want to donate, you donate there, that money directly go to the victims. So here it was a selfless service. It is still selfless service. So it was a selfless service to I'm serving someone, and that's whoever is getting that service, that's he or she is not paying me. That is going to the victim who need that, actually. And it was not compulsory that you have to put money or you have to anything. It is, if you only connect with the cause, that was if you only connect with the cause, then the put money, otherwise it's free service for you. So that was the thing. And from there it started. It is very unique kind of charity. So I thought yoga is the best charity. It heals you,
Wonderful.
from inside, from outside. So from there it started, never ending. And I started doing for Sri Lanka, I started doing for India, for whatever way we could. I started doing a lot of yoga events, whatever money raised, I started sending it to, we started sending it to actually the Chief Minister Fund, and whenever needed. So still it is going on, and I have planned to do something bigger, so I can make this really, this initiative can inspire many people, and we can feel that anything we have, at least something we can do for the society. So that is
Thank you
my
so
message.
much
That
for sharing that, and thank you for all the selfless seva that you're doing to not just India, but to Japan, Sri Lanka, and other countries as well. Nupurji, it was lovely having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for taking out your time and joining us. Please do stay in touch, and we hope to have you back on our channel again.
Thank you so much for having me, and I really enjoyed, and definitely I would love to be here again. And as you said, that for doing the Sri Lanka or other countries, as our ancestor taught us, Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So yes, the entire world is a family. So let's make
Thank
this world a
you.
better place.
Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.